crossroads curse. It was just another quiet night walk with my dog. The streets of our small town were empty, the kind of silence where even the wind seems to hold its breath. The only light came from a single street lamp standing at a lonely intersection ahead, its bulb flickering weakly like it was struggling to stay alive. At first, I thought I saw someone moving beneath it, a tall shadow pacing back and forth. My dog froze, ears back, a low whine rising in her throat, but I urged her forward. As we got closer, I realized it was a woman, tall, wrapped in an oversized sweater, a long skirt brushing the ground, her head hidden under a scarf. But what sent chills down my spine were her movements, jerky, frantic, as if she was trapped, fighting against something invisible. And then my stomach turned cold. She looked hollow. Her arms were missing, her body incomplete, her face blurred like smoke, just empty clothes thrashing wildly in the circle of light, as if something unseen was inside them. The moment she sensed us, she stopped, still, silent. I couldn't breathe. Then she lunged, bounding toward us, fast, too fast. I was frozen, my legs refusing to move. Her empty form flapped, rushing closer and closer. At the very last second, my dog leapt in front of me, her growl splitting the silence, her teeth sinking into the fabric. The thing writhed and wrapped around her, pulling tighter, until, in an instant, it vanished. Gone. My dog collapsed in my arms, trembling, as if she had no strength left. I carried her home, but she never recovered. 3 days later, she was lost to me. Later, I learned the truth. They say crossroads are cursed places where those who deal with dark practices leave behind sickness, misfortune, sometimes worse. That night, the curse was waiting for someone. It wasn't meant for me. It was meant for whoever passed through. But my dog took it instead. She gave everything to protect me. The child in the dark. It all began with my roommate. At first, I thought she was just trying to scare me, but then I realized she was serious. She said she often woke in the middle of the night to a strange rustling at the far corner of our dorm room. Then came the knocking, heavy, repeated, always against the wall right beside her bed. But that wall faced the outside, 8 floors above the ground. There was no one there. One night, she dreamed of a sound, a long creaking noise echoing from the corridor. She opened the door and saw me sitting, frozen in a rocking chair, unable to move or speak, my eyes wide with fear, the chair groaning back and forth. When she woke, she tried to shake it off, until the next day, when she was alone in the room. The same sound returned, the creak of that chair, louder this time, real. She ran into the hallway, but it was empty, silent. I told myself it was nothing, just her imagination, but then it began for me too. I dreamed of being chased, trapped in endless darkness. I woke to a sudden sharp pressure in my head. On my pillow lay a heavy brush, but how could it have landed there? It felt as if something had placed it. The nights grew worse. Every time we closed our eyes, the nightmares came. She would hear objects falling beside her bed. I would dream of strange figures with blurred, shifting faces surrounding me, both of us certain that we were not alone. Then came the night I'll never forget. I woke to a sound beneath my bed. Scratching, soft steps, and then I felt it, something perched above my head. A cold presence breathing against my ear, whispering. I tried to move, but my body was frozen, paralyzed. My arm lifted slightly, then something pushed it back down, pinning me against the mattress. A weight settled on my shoulder, heavy, pressing, alive. Fear consumed me. I wanted to cry out, but no sound came. My lips wouldn't move, so I repeated words inside my mind, anything to fight the terror. And then it released me. All at once, the weight lifted, the whispers stopped. I shot upright, gasping for breath. My roommate slept peacefully beside me, untouched. The next day, I sprinkled water across the room and made a quiet promise to myself. Each night now, before I sleep, I whisper a few words of protection. Soon I'll leave the storm behind. I'll move out. I'll graduate. And whatever lingers in that room, it can stay. The cursed child. It happened to me last winter. I worked late shifts, usually finishing around midnight. The buses in my town almost stopped running that late, so if I missed the last one, I had to walk. My coworkers told me there was a shortcut, straight through the old cemetery. I laughed it off at first, but after missing the bus too many times, I tried it. At first, it was fine. Summer nights were warm, the gates stood open, and the main path cut straight across. But when winter came, it was different. Quiet. Too quiet. By January, I found myself walking alone most nights. One night after New Year's, I set out across the cemetery. The snow crunched under my boots, loud in the silence. The moon was full, glowing against the white graves, throwing long black shadows. My breath smoked in the air, and every sound seemed magnified. Halfway across, I noticed something. To my right, maybe 15 feet away, movement among the gravestones. At first, I thought it was just snow sliding from across, but no, there was someone there, a figure, bent low, digging into the snow piled over a grave. I froze. My chest tightened. Then, it stopped moving. Slowly, it turned. The thing snapped its head toward me. Its eyes, they weren't human. They burned red, glowing in the dark like coals. And the sound it made, not a voice, not even an animal's growl, but something between a snarl and a hiss, like air forced through broken glass. It straightened up. I saw its body, ragged, hunched, wrapped in torn rags or maybe matted fur. Its arms dangled too long, its fingers clawing the air. The sight jolted me like a shock. My legs moved before I could think. I bolted down the path, the snow exploding under my feet. Behind me, I heard it, heavy, uneven steps crunching in the snow. Too close, too fast. I didn't dare look back. The only thing I remember is the shadows dancing on the gravestones as I ran, and that red glow searing the back of my head. At the gate, headlights cut through the dark, the bus. I stumbled aboard, gasping, drenched in sweat. The driver gave me a look, but I couldn't speak. I glanced back once. The cemetery lay silent, the moonlight cold and cruel. Nothing moved, no eyes, no sound. But even now I can still hear that hiss, and sometimes, in the dead of night, when I'm alone, I swear I feel those burning eyes watching me again.
The dormitory entity.
I couldn't sleep anymore. No matter what I tried, medicine, calming music, endless TV shows, nothing worked. Every night I would drift into a short, shallow sleep, only to jolt awake as if falling into a bottomless pit. Each time it left me shaking, gasping for breath, wishing I didn't have to open my eyes at all. And then, one morning, everything changed. As I lay in the dark, close to dawn, I heard it. A soft rustling and quiet, broken sobs. The sound was coming from the old writing desk, a huge, heavy antique covered in green felt, sitting in the corner of my rented room. The desk had belonged to my landlady's grandfather. She said it was impossible to remove without cutting it to pieces. Its drawers and cabinets were crammed with dusty books and forgotten junk. That night, the sounds were coming from inside one of those cabinets. I froze, listening. My mind raced through stories of spirits, demons, old things that never truly die. And then I thought, if it kills me, maybe that would be easier than living like this. Strangely, the thought calmed me, and for the first time in weeks, I slept. The next day, I searched every cabinet of the desk. Nothing. Just yellowed pages, scraps of fabric, worthless trash. But that night, as the lights went out, the sound returned. Soft rustling, a faint squeak of a cabinet door. Then something else. Schlop, schlop, schlop. Like the wet slap of heavy feet on the floor, as if some bloated creature were hopping across the room. The sound should have terrified me, but instead I felt a strange comfort. The steady rhythm lulled me to sleep. Night after night it grew bolder. I would feel it moving around my bed, sometimes brushing against me as I dreamed. And then, one evening, leaving for the store, I realized it had followed me outside. I could hear it, those wet footsteps keeping pace behind me. No one else could see it, but people felt it. They would flinch when I passed. In shops, no one stood in line behind me. On buses, a seat always remained empty beside me, even when the aisle was packed. And then, my ex-husband came. He waited for me outside work, his face twisted with anger. As he rushed toward me, he stopped. Something made him recoil, staring into my eyes as if he saw a monster behind them. The next day, he died in a car crash. I thought for a while that maybe this thing was protecting me, my silent shadow, my invisible guardian. But I was wrong, because lately, it doesn't leave my side. At night, it climbs onto the bed and settles at my feet. Each night, heavier than before. Each night, pressing farther up my body. I wake with my legs numb, my chest tight, the weight of it creeping higher. And today, it reached my chest. Now I'm afraid to sleep again, because I know one night soon, it won't stop climbing.
The graveyard beast.
It happened last autumn. My wife and I had just moved into my late father's apartment. He had died 5 years earlier. You should know he was a strict man, but fair, respected by everyone. I hadn't set foot in that place often since his passing. I couldn't bring myself to rent it out either. It had to stay in the family. When we moved in, we noticed a set of keys was missing. I remembered the driver who helped us unload, a private guy with an old truck. I thought I saw him holding them. His phone never worked again, and his name led nowhere. We kept telling ourselves we'd change the lock soon, but we didn't. A few days later, I was at work. My wife was home alone. It was evening, shadows creeping in through the windows. She called me after, her voice shaking, and told me what happened. She said she saw me. She was in a kitchen, and out of the corner of her eye, she noticed a man, tall, same build as me, slipping into the living room across the hall. Same hair, same walk. But the suit was all wrong. Dark, formal, not mine. She even joked out loud, "I see you!" Then she stepped inside and found no one. The room was empty. But then she heard it. On the landing, movement, low whispers. The front door hadn't been locked. She rushed to bolt it shut and felt a shove between her shoulder blades, as if someone pushed her forward, forcing her to close it. She leaned to the peephole, but it was pitch black. Someone had covered it. And then, the sound of a key turning in the lock, and a whisper right outside. "If she's home, what then?" Another voice answered, too quiet to understand. The handle pressed down, once, twice, again, but the bolt held. My wife told me she stood frozen until she finally shouted through the door, "Not careless, just very prepared people." She heard them curse, footsteps pounding down the stairs, the building door slamming shut. When I came home, we checked the door. The peephole had been sealed over with gum. The police didn't find the man from the truck. The number was fake, the name useless. We changed the locks, installed an alarm. But one thing haunted me. My wife described the suit the figure was wearing. The exact same suit my father had been buried in. I couldn't shake the thought. It wasn't just thieves. It was him, my father, warning her, pushing her to the door, making her lock it in time. Because if she had gone to the bathroom, as she had planned, leaving the door wide open, I don't want to imagine what would have happened when she came out.
Subscribe and don't watch alone.